Let's begin with Doodly 101, your Doodly beginner walkthrough. This video tutorial was created with version 2.5.6, but the walkthrough will help you learn any Doodly version. Hi, I'm Wayne, the creator of this free video content. Nice to meet you. In just a bit, I'm going to show you content that's designed to show you 1 minute and 30 seconds of different video design techniques, try to make you laugh, all the while telling you how you can support this channel free of charge. If you're someone that feels the thousands of hours I've spent creating free content for you is not worth the 1 minute and 30 seconds of your time, simply use the chapters feature I've taken the time to create in this video and skip over it. Just move your mouse over the video timeline and click on the next chapter. For those of you that do appreciate the time I've taken, here it is, and thanks for watching. This free video tutorial took billions of light years to create. YouTube judges a channel by subscribers, likes, shares, and video hours watched. We only ask, for all our hard work, please use those buttons and let this video run until the end. Thank you. Easily support this channel free of charge. Here are some methods. Click that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. This video is monetized. Let the video run all the way to the end. The ad revenue, as little as it is, helps support this channel. Join our Facebook group. You'll find a link in the description. You'll receive group status with me and other experienced doodlers and video designers ready to help. Share these videos with other people you know and even people you don't, whether it's in the official Doodly Facebook group or somewhere else. The more people that watch and comment, the more videos I'll create. Join Production Crate through the link in our description. They have a free account and some of the best video designing effects I've found on the internet, along with tutorials, so you know how to use them and can create effects like what you'll see throughout this video series. YouTubers! Reference back to our video in your video or video description. We would be appreciative of a link back to our channel or a plug in your video showing us our hard work paid off. Let us know about it so we can return the kindness. Contact us if you want to get a little more creative and learn how to pass traffic amongst channels. We are all excited about this new software. We love the hand drawing. It's so catchy. That's why we purchased it. There are quite a few annoyances that you may want to know about ahead of time. Here are a lot of them that I've discovered over the year I've been using the software. My goal with this section is not to attack the Doodly software, but to inform people, including the Doodly developers and staff at Brixen, how an experienced doodler and a longtime customer that has spent about 10 times the required amount of money to use the software and continues to spend money on other Brixen created software views the Doodly software, and to demonstrate the frustrations that come along with the software use from a customer point of view, in hopes of helping to point the company into a direction that would better all users. This is not to say that there are not great things to say about the software and that Brixen doesn't consistently update their software to make it better, which they do, as proven by my Updates in Doodly section in this very series. This section is designed to point out to users what frustrations they may run into that have been repeatedly mentioned in the comment section of this YouTube channel and the groups for which I'm a member. To be fair and not make it sound like I am just another user complaining, for which there are plenty, I provide not only the part that is frustrating to the user, but also suggestions and designs for rectifying the frustration in hopes that someone at Brixen will see this section and the developers will fix the issues. As a user of the software, know that if you don't experience any of the issues, or perhaps you see something that was in my design that's now in the Doodly software, then this section was successful in nature and someone from Doodly is watching my videos and they did make a difference. You can include any other frustrations you've run across in the comments below. A comment doesn't mean Brixen will read them, but at least there will be a publicly available list of all of the frustrations together, and perhaps we can turn Doodly into a phenomenal piece of software. Technical support is wonderful at minimalistic answers. They receive those every single day, but anything more technical than how do I or what do I do questions, and you receive a canned response that makes absolutely no sense. It's almost as if you're talking to an AI response bot that doesn't understand the question. The software is extremely memory heavy, so unless you have a lot of memory in your computer, don't plan on exporting at 1920 by 1080 at 60 frames per second with 100% quality. Exporting times are horrendous in Doodly, especially if you're trying to export the audio and video together. This is quite annoying. Some of the time frames I've seen for rendering are insane for smaller videos. A larger project rendered for 35 hours and then crashed after 27 out of those 35 hours. At one point, Doodly said NaN, or not applicable, time left, or it will take infinity hours to render this project. It was so funny, I actually threw it up in the Facebook group, and of course the Doodly police deleted it. People have complained about this for a very long time, and I won't bore you with technical details as to why this happens. Just know that if you're getting plagued with audio and video rendering times that are greater than 20 hours, and you want to speed up the rendering, then render your audio separately from your video, and use a third-party video editor to combine both of those now rendered doodles. Just ensure the FPS is the same for both renders. It cut my 35-hour render time down to 10 hours, which is still ridiculous for a 50-minute video. Rendering is done completely from the memory in the computer and not the GPU. So it doesn't matter if you have the latest and greatest GPU because Doodly doesn't use it. Which brings up my very next issue, misinformation by technical support. Technical support has made claims multiple times that Doodly rendering times are because the software is connected to the internet. Being connected to the internet has absolutely nothing to do with the rendering times in Doodly. This, along with other stuff they tell you, is huge misinformation. If Doodly requires the internet to render, then I wouldn't be able to disable the internet from my computer and successfully render a doodle. Here is a video providing proof that when they tell you the rendering times are because of the internet, they're wrong. Let's watch. So, I want to prove a point to everyone here. The technical support keeps saying how you have to be on the internet and it causes the internet to cause the rendering times that are slow in Doodly. I want to show you something here. I'm going to take myself off the internet. You can see I'm already in Doodly. So, here I am disconnecting. I am no longer connected via Wi-Fi or via wired cable to the internet. Now, my Doodly is already opened, which means I've already downloaded the items from Doodly. I'm already in here. I'm going to export. The export window still comes up. 1080p still comes up. 60 frames a second. Let's change this over. All of the stuff still works. So I'm going to just say a 2 here. I'm going to save, and I'm going to continue. We can see here that I'm still exporting. This does not use the internet to render your video. Matter of fact, what it does is it uses your temp files. The only time that the internet is used is when you make that initial connection to download the files. That's why you need to be on the internet to be able to download the files. So you can see here we're still rendering at 17%, about 8 minutes left. That'll actually cut down, and as soon as it hits about 60%, it'll jump to about 2 minutes and then it'll finish. But Doodly does not need the internet to render your video. The only thing that you need the internet for is to sign in for authentication and to download the files from the Brixen servers so that you can create your doodle. If you're already in Doodly, you can render your scenes without a problem if you lose internet connection. Here we are with 5 minutes left. I'll take a look at the task manager. I've got a lot open right now, which is why it's using up 100% of the CPU. So Doodly's using 800 and 900, almost a gig's worth of memory here. That's a lot of memory to use. I mean, as it stands, Chrome with 25 pages open is using 1.3 gigs. But here is where, this is where Doodly does all its rendering. So if the files are already in memory in your computer, just because you have internet doesn't matter. It's irrelevant whether or not, as long as the files are already converted to memory. And we can see here, Doodly's memory usage goes up and up and up as it starts rendering more and more. Now, taking 11 minutes for literally an SVG file that's 30 kilobytes and some text, and to take 11 minutes to render that is absolutely, completely ridiculous. Yes, I agree. But that is how Doodly works because of the memory usage inside here. It's so heavily memory, it's so memory heavy on it that it fights itself to be able to render. And that's how Doodly keeps everything secure to the Bryson servers, is because they put it all in memory instead of running it as files and references to files like Adobe Premiere do on your computer. So when you're rendering it strictly in memory and the computer and the program runs off of memory, everything else in your computer is using memory. It's basically fighting itself to render, which is why these rendering times take so long. It has nothing to do with the internet like the technical support keeps telling you. Here we can see we're at the encoding rendering frames. So it'll start jumping up here. It's encoding the video. So basically what it did is it processed all the scenes, which is only one scene, and you can see it's jumping up now inside there. If we take a look at the memory usage, the memory jumped up to 1.2 gigs, which is about the same speed as Chrome is using with multiple tabs. Now we can see here that I am still not connected to the internet. Let's check the file out. This is the one I just created before, and here is a successful render for a doodle without the necessary or the need for the internet. So please do not believe it when technical support says, oh, we use the internet to render and that's why the rendering times are so slow. That is wrong. Lack of additional video timelines. Up until version 2.6.9, there is only one video timeline. You can create multiple audio timelines, for which we will talk about next, but multiple video timelines are out of the question, and this is quite annoying because you cannot properly layer. Instead, they give you the layers section, which you can only see 3 full layers maximum on a 2K screen, like 98% of the world owns. If you look at the Doodly videos on YouTube where they have a 4K screen or larger in the video, you can see more layers. But do you really want to change out your computer equipment for software that should be more optimally designed with a new UI, such as the one I'm showing on the screen? With a more optimal design, the software can accommodate those of us without a 4K or higher or 65-inch screens. The toggle full screen is completely useless. It only gets rid of the title bar. They could get rid of the entire upper quarter and just leave the menu, the My Video link, and the title, and that would give us plenty of room, but that's not what they choose to do. Audio is a huge issue in Doodly. Doodly support on one hand tells you there is no limit to the size of the doodle you can create, but then on the other hand tells you that your doodle is too big when it crashes. Audio needs to be staggered on more than one audio timeline, but if you add too many audio timelines to your doodle, it'll crash again. Doodly is a very unstable piece of software. The user experience and user interface for Doodly is atrocious. Undo and redo are a mess. They work on individual scenes instead of the entire project, but nowhere does anybody teach you this except here in this video. They don't work in pan and zoom at all. Sometimes when moving a layer, it'll jump all the way up to the first position without your knowledge. Duplicating scenes is a train wreck. It appears to work fine until you close out of your doodle and go back into it and then realize that even though you carefully duplicated and then changed the scene and then duplicated again and changed the scene again multiple times, when you get to larger projects, suddenly Doodly will duplicate, triplicate, and sometimes quadruplicate random scenes throughout your doodle. Additionally, it'll randomly move one of your scenes to scene 1 even though it used to be scene 84. Now causing you to either have to copy and paste it or drag it back, which is extremely slow. Pan and zoom, as popular as this feature is, works backwards, which is why it's so difficult for people to grasp. Some people get it right away, but others don't, because you have to think backwards with the zoom function. This should be a built-in function like every other software out there so that you can apply a zoom or pan by selecting the area and clicking a button, then the software does it for you. There is no grid in the pan and zoom, so you must manually line everything up, making it very difficult to use. Doodly is very laggy regardless of the internet you have. It's not you, it's the program. The software is very poorly programmed and needs a complete redesign under the Windows framework using Visual Studio instead of a custom programming job as it has now. The Facebook group is run by the Doodly police. Absolutely zero support requests are allowed in the Facebook group, and don't even think about whispering anything that could be considered as potentially bad about the software because you will be banned. It's a facade. They want new users to come in and pretend everything is peaches and cream, so you don't cancel the subscription or return the software. There are 5 main groups of people in the Facebook group. 1, people waiting for people to come in and offer jobs. They kind of linger and don't really socialize, but are all over the job offers. They're good people, but you'll fight for a job offer if you think you'll make any money from people offering in that group. 2, people really wanting to help other people, but those are a select few, like myself and a few others. I see the same names repeatedly most of the time. 3, people wanting help, but a lot of those get sent over to support@doodly.com, and their commenting becomes blocked on their posts. Thank you, Doodly Police. 4, people sharing their doodles and wanting critiques. And 5, people sharing their doodles just to draw people to their YouTube or Instagram channel. These typically don't turn out that well. The Facebook group is run by young kids, and they run it like Nazis. If you don't fall within whatever they deem to be the rules, then you're banned and kicked out. And the rules are whatever they want to make them because they allow things that are in the rules not to do, and then things that are not in the rules, you're not allowed to do those, such as leaving a signature for your comment. Well, that's not in the rules not to do that, but then they kick you out. When they warn you, you can't actually see the warning, and this is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. You get a warning from the Facebook group. The warning says an admin has commented. You click on the comment and nothing is there. They have the group settings so that only they can see the comments the admins provide. So you write Doodly support and say, hey, I can't see the comments that are being provided, and you receive a response saying that they're not responsible for how Facebook chooses to share the comments with you. What? That's completely idiotic. Exporting options are not automatically set to the video settings when you created the video. So in your mind, you've set these options already, but then you have to set them a second time when you export. This is absolutely stupid. Either automatically use the video settings as the export options, or put the settings into a variable and then automatically set the export for the user. Breaksin developers have already done this with the custom resolution, as I'm demonstrating here. They just need to make it happen with the rest of the resolutions. This is a big problem with an easy fix, and I see this issue repeatedly in the Facebook group. Adding a warning about changing the resolution would help prevent the black bars from showing up on people's doodles as well. As easy as this software is to drag and drop, there are so many issues with the user interface. Given the heavy memory usage, Doodly crashes a lot or lags a tremendous amount. There is zero quality assurance in this software. You will be the alpha tester in the software lifecycle. I get the impression that the people running the company have zero experience with programming software, so they are taking the developer's word for it and using an Indian development company. I've been using Indian companies for 20 years for development, so I'm very familiar with the language barrier, the shoddy programming, and the developers claim that it's done when it's really full of bugs. This is what happens when you're using an inexpensive company overseas. So you either must know programming so you can catch all of the little innuendos that happen, or you need a team of professionals known as your quality assurance team to test the software. Additionally, a team of alpha or beta testers to be able to point out the bugs, and that is severely lacking in Doodly or any Brightson software for that matter. Brightson is using the old Microsoft method. Program it first, put it out as stable, and let your users figure out the bugs and the frustrations, and just filter everything through support. The issue there is that Microsoft had 100 million people instantly to be able to use this approach, whereas Doodly has around 80,000. And since they don't optimally utilize their Facebook page, you're forced to funnel all of your complaints through support, which become very old as soon as you get past the initial excitement of, oh, they answered me right away and they knew how to add an image. Searching is a mess. You need to know exactly who and not what you are searching for in Doodly, and Brightson doesn't provide a character database. So this forces you to go through the characters and create your own database. There are tens of thousands of assets to choose from, making cataloging them accurately impossible. Even searching the marketplace is a wreck. Looking at the marketplace, we need to scroll down and click the See More button to display a few more bundles. We then scroll down again and repeat the process. Now, let's click on one of the bundles. Pretend we looked at it and hit our back button, and now we need to start the process all over again from the beginning. This is very frustrating. There is no organizational process inside the software for your props, so you're forced to get creative with naming conventions for the items you import. Doodly is designed around keeping your property on the Brightson servers. This is a cloud-based software, but there's no method for you to maintain your projects without a subscription. If they decide to shut down the Doodly project, you lose everything. You cannot export even the images you imported as images. You can only export them as a .das file or Doodly asset file, which will only work in Doodly. Some assets you're not allowed to export at all. You can share assets, but only with another Doodly user. The lack of attention to detail in the software is offensive. Whenever a new feature comes out, I always expect it not to function properly, and when a bug is reported, I don't expect it to be corrected. Like the text not changing bug that was reported as corrected that I showed in earlier chapters that was not corrected. Just more lack of attention to detail in the software. An end user should not feel like this about the software they're using. Therefore, people are upset about their purchase and feel like they're getting ripped off. But you won't see that in the Facebook group because those posts are immediately removed and those people are banned. Scary coded non-user-friendly error messages like this one. This is a JavaScript error message that just means you're not connected to the internet. The software cannot connect to the Brightson server. That could be made to be user-friendly, saying, please check your internet connection, but they leave it like this in code, which nobody's going to understand. My plan here was to write out a script for all of the bugs and frustration and go over them all that I've seen over the past year. But this is going on the 4th page of script right now, and I have not even started to climb the mountain of frustrations dealing with the software. So if I continue, you're going to be listening to me for the next 4 hours. So I'm going to stop here. Hey, that's it for this video, but not for the rest of the information on this channel. Here are some more videos to help you keep learning. Click that subscribe button and tap that notification bell for more Doodly tips and tricks. Let's make a deal. You keep watching the videos and I'll keep creating the content.